Hello students, welcome to IS by God. This is the session 4 of the Prelims East season 2. In the discussion, we are going to analyze 10 more important topics that can be expected in your upcoming Prelims examination 2021. Okay. These 10 questions have been modeled based on the analysis of last 5 years of UPSC Prelims question papers. Okay. So make sure that you are extracting best out of it. Without delay, we are getting to the questions. Okay. The first question with reference to leatherback turtle, consider the following statements. Okay. Question is about leatherback turtle. Okay. There are four statements have been given in your question. The question is about correct statement. Okay. So you may think that there are many topics in environment subject, but why particularly about leatherback turtle? So for this doubt, we are going to see the previous year's question paper. Okay. In the year prelims 2020, if you see that there was a question about Indian elephant. Why Indian elephant question have been asked in the last 2020 prelims examination. So if you read the newspapers and other current affairs magazines, you can know that in the year 2019, elephant census was released. Okay, elephant census was released. So based on that census, this question have been asked in a prelims examination 2020. Okay. So if you go through this question, there are four statements with the basic information of elephants. Okay. So based on this question, we have model leatherback turtle this question here with the four statements based on this previous year question papers. Okay. Then you can think that then particularly why about leatherback turtle? There are many important species, keystone species, and flaxseed species, etc. But why leatherback turtle question have been placed here? So for this, we have to go through our explanation page. Okay, okay. The first information is proposal for tourism and port development in the Andaman Nicobar Islands have been raised concern over the fate of leatherback turtle in the Indian Ocean. Okay. Recently, Union government introduced a proposal that they are going to develop tourism sector and ports in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. Okay. But the problem here is leatherback turtle are distributed in the Andaman Nicobar Island, Indian Ocean area. Okay. That is why environmentalists and other environmental activists and international experts raised concern over the fate of leatherback turtle. Then, okay. We should know the basic information about the leatherback turtle. Okay. Okay. Actually, there is no issue with the tourism and port development in the Andaman Nicobar Island. But why leatherback turtle become important here means it is the largest of 7 species. There are 7 turtle species in the world, but it is the largest. That is, leatherback turtle is the largest of all 7 turtle species. Okay. It is the most long ranging. Why long ranging? If you go through this statement, this information, they are highly migratory, swimming over 10,000 miles. Sorry, swimming over 10,000 miles. That is why they are long ranging, highly migratory, and 10,000 miles per year. That's why. Okay. If you go through the next information, they are strong swimmers. That is why they are highly migratory, migrating 10,000 miles per year. That is why they are long ranging. Okay. Okay. The long range means widely distributed. Widely distributed in the sense they are found in all oceans except Arctic and Antarctic. Okay. So except Arctic and Antarctic means except in the area of cold water region, these leatherback turtle are widely distributed in all warm water oceans. That is Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arabian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, etc. Okay, you should be very clear about that. Then within the Indian Ocean, why these environmental activists and other international experts raised concern over this port and tourism development means they are widely distributed, right? But the problem here lies with the nesting site of leatherback turtle. If you go through this information, they nest only in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Andaman Nicobar Islands within the Indian Ocean. Okay, within the Indian Ocean, they nest only in 3 countries. That is in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. That is why environmental activists and other experts have raised concern over this proposal. Okay, and then already they are they are highly migrated, they are strong swimmers. Okay, after going through all these explanations, we are coming back to solving this question. So it becomes very important. Leatherback turtle species can be asked in your upcoming prelims examination. So coming back to our question, statement one, they are found in all oceans except Antarctic and Arctic. Okay, this statement is correct. Okay. So first statement is correct. If you come to the option, there is no one in the option B. So we can eliminate option B. Okay. Second statement, within the Indian Ocean, they nest only in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. Yes, that is why it has raised concern over that port and tourism development projects. Okay, statement two is correct. So you can, if you come to options given options, option C is can be eliminated. Why? Two is correct, but it is not present in the option. Okay, so we can eliminate option C. We are left with the two options, option A and option B. If you go through statement 3 and 4, we saw in the explanation page, they are highly migratory in nature and strong swimmers. Okay. So all the statements are correct. The question is about correct statement. So we can conclude that option D is the correct answer. All the statements are correct. Okay. After going through the question number 1, we are moving to question number 2. Okay. Question number 2. Who among the following personalities is associated with the creation of Deccan Education Society in 1884? Okay. This question have been modeled based on the previous year question papers, but again, question is on the topic of Deccan Education Society. Okay, there are two reasons why this question have been formulated in this model. Means previously UPSC has asked about these social and political organizations in this fashion. That's why we have formulated like this. And then why education Deccan Education Society question on why Deccan Education Society means, and the answer lies in the explanation page. We will go through that explanation page. Okay. Okay. See, if you see in the prelims examination 2018, there was a question about Hind Mazdoor Sabha. Who among the following were the founders of the Hindu Mazdoor Sabha established in the year 1948? So, with the year they have mentioned the organization, but they have demanded about founders of this organization. Based on this question, in this question, three persons have been given. So, based on this question, we have formulated this Deccan Education Society 1884. Okay, we are given three personalities here. You should pick one option from these four options. Okay. So why question about Deccan Education Society? The answer lies in the explanation page. If you have read a newspaper, you know that in August 2020, 1st August 2020, Bal Gangadhar Tilak's 100th death anniversary was observed. Okay, Bal Gangadhar Tilak's 100th death anniversary was observed. So it becomes very important. Previously, UPSC placed a question about particular personality about his own personal views and other contributions in the national freedom movement. But from 2018, if you see in the 2018 question, it has changed its asking style of questions. Okay, so we should know about Bal Gangadhar Tilak. We should know about Bal Gangadhar Tilak and what are his contributions towards political movement and social reform movements. Okay. So, if you go through this explanation, one of the five freedom fighters and the strongest proponent of Purna Sivaraj. So, he was the first one who proposed the concept of Purna Sivaraj in the Indian freedom struggle. Lokmanya, he has another name, Lokmanya. Bal Gangadhar Tilak's 100th death anniversary was observed on 1st August 2020. Okay, okay. If you go through modern history spectrum book, you know that from the second half of the 19th century, national freedom struggle was started. Okay, okay. From the 1850s to 1905, this period was dominated by moderates. Okay, moderates. After the partition of Bengal in 1905, the faction of extremists became very important in the national freedom struggle. Extremist faction. Okay, it becomes very important. So you should know very clear about these two factions and what are the personalities associated with these two factions. Okay, then In the second explanation, Jawaharlal Nehru called him the father of Indian Revolution. Mahatma Gandhi described Tilak as the maker of modern India. Okay, you should know these two personalities here. Question may be asked about in this fashion. Who among the following called the Bal Gangadhar Tilak as the father of Indian Revolution? Or Mahatma Gandhi described Tilak as in the following manner. They can given four options. You should pick one option. So you should be very clear about that. About Jawaharlal Nehru called father of modern Indian Revolution as Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Mahatma Gandhi described Tilak as maker of modern India. Okay, you should be very clear about that. And then in 1880, here comes our question. In 1880, Vishnu Sastri Chuplingwar and Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Gopal Ganesh Agarkar established the New English School, one of the first native-run schools offering Western education in Pune. Okay. In 1884, they created the Deccan Education Society with Mahadev Govind Ranade, Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade. Okay. They established the Ferguson College in 1885 for post-secondary studies. So, you should be very clear about this chronological order 1880, 1884, and then 1885. Who are the personalities associated with each one of these organizations? These three personalities are associated with the English school, and along with these three personalities, Justice Madhav Govind Ranade also associated with the Deccan Education Society. This Deccan Education Society established Ferguson College and for post-secondary studies. So this one New English School for which one? Western Education, Deccan Education Society, and then Ferguson College for post-secondary studies. What are the organizations and their chronological order, personalities associated with them, and what are their purposes? You should know very clear about all these things. Okay. So after going through this explanation, we are coming back to solve this question. So the first option is option A, Vishnu Sastri Chitlungar, Lokmanya Tilak, and Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. Okay. So the correct answer could be option A. If you come to option B, why it is not correct means Bipin Chandra Pal is not associated with the Deccan Education Society. In the option C, if you come, Gadamini Ganguly is not associated with the organization. Option D, Gadamini Ganguly, both Gadamini Ganguly and Lala Lajpati Raya are not associated with the Deccan Education Society, which was established in the year 1884. Okay. After solving this question, we are moving to question number 3. Okay. Consider the following statement. Which of the above is or are features of Nagara style of temple architecture? Okay. Okay. Now you can think that why particular question about Nagara style. Okay. And why this question have been formulated in this sense. So these two aspects should be covered, should be clear. Okay. So first, why this question have been formulated in this fashion means if you go through prelims question in 2019, there was a question about Kalyana Mandapas. It is a specific feature of Vijayanagara kingdom. Okay, so question was building Kalyana Mandapas was a notable feature in the temple construction in the kingdom of Vijayanagara. Why in this question I have been asked me? Previously, UPSC asked you about Nagara style, Dravidishala Dasara style in the broad perspective, but it now changed its demand to asking specific features. So that is why we have formulated this Nagara style features of Nagara style question here. Then you may doubt that there are 3 different styles of architecture. One is Dravidian style, another one is Nagara style, and third one is Vesara style. So why particularly question about Nagara style? Okay, so it should be clear. This doubt should be clear, right? So if you come to the explanation page, there was a news about Rama Janmabhoomi foundation stone. Okay, foundation stone ceremony function. In the ceremony function. Okay. If you go through that, there was a mention about Nagara style. The grand temple of the Rama Janmabhoomi in Ayodhya will follow the Nagara style of temple architecture. Nagara style of temple architecture. Okay. So it becomes very important that you should be very clear about Nagara style of temple architecture. Okay. This Ayodhya issue was very contentious issue in the Indian political history. So we should be very clear about that, and what are the Supreme Court pronouncement about this case, and it realized the country for last nearly 25 years, quarter of the century. Okay, so this temple is going to follow the Nagara style. So it becomes very important that for the upcoming prelims examination, question about Nagara style can be expected at most. Okay, okay. The particular statements about Nagara style. The Nagara style of temple architecture is found in northern India. Okay, it is found in northern India. The style found in southern India is Dravidian style. Dravidian style. The style found in central India is Vesara style. Okay, it is the hybridization. Vesara style. Okay, it is a hybridization of both Dravidia and Nagara style. In the Nagara style, the temple is generally constructed on an upraised platform called Jagadi. So, if you go through this picture, you can see that this is a raised platform. This is called Jagadi. Okay, raised platform. You should know, you should be very clear about the term Jagadi. There can be a question. The term and it is an upraised platform called Jagadi, which means it refers to that can be our upcoming question. Okay, you should be very clear about the term Jagadi, in which temple architecture it is associated with it. You should be very clear about that. And then mandapas are present in the form of Garbhagriha. These are adorned with the Sigara, the tallest one being above the Garbhagriha. Okay, here Garbhagriha is the area in which the main deity is placed inside the temple. Okay, this is called Shikara. It is covered with the tallest one being the above Garbhagriha. This is Jagadi. This is the Garbhagriha inside the temple of Garbhagriha. This is the Sigara. This Garbhagriha is covered with the tallest Garbhagriha. Tallest Shikara. Okay, it is adorned with Shikara. So you should be very thorough about that. And then Nagara style does not usually have elaborate boundary walls or gateways. Yes, it does not have any of these features. This is the architectural features of Dravidian style. Okay, Dravidian style. And then generally there is no water tank in the temple in the premises, and Pradakshina Pada is covered. Yes, Pradakshina Pada is, this one is covered, and then no water tank. This water tank feature is associated with the same Dravidian style, not with the Nagaran style. Okay. The Garbhagriha is always located directly under the tallest tower. Yes, here. Directly always located in the which one under the tallest tower. So after going through all this information, what you should do is you have to prepare a very quick revisionary notes about the different architectural styles and what are the similarities and differences between these three architectural features, and who patronized which architecture style in India. Okay. After going through all these elaborate informations, we are coming back to solve this question. Okay. The first statement, an upraised platform called Jagadi. Yes, okay. Just now we saw in the explanation page, this is correct. Elaborate boundary walls or gateways. No, this is the feature of Dravidian style. The Garbhagriha is always located directly under the tallest tower. Yes, as we saw in the last point of the information, this is correct. Water tank in the temple premises. No, this is the again feature of Dravidian style. So if we eliminate 2 and 4 from the option B is gone. Option D is gone. Okay, so statement 1 and 3 are correct. So the answer could be correct. Answer could be option E. Okay. Okay. After completing this third question, we are moving to question number 4. Question number 4. Okay. Question number 4 is about Office of the CAG, Controller and Auditor General of India. Okay. Okay. Then again the same formula. Why this question have been formulated in the following manner? It becomes very important. You should know about this. And then why question about particularly on the office of the CAG? There are the different constitutional offices like Election Commission, Union Public Service Commission, and the other offices. But why question about Controller Auditor General of India? So if you should be very clear about these two parameters here. Okay. First, why this question has been formulated in this following manner. Okay. So if you go through the prelims question 2017, there was a question about Election Commission of India. Okay. This is a constitutional body, Election Commission of India, and what are its functions and who were associated with these functions. Okay. So based on this question, 2017 prelims question, we have formatted this question in this following manner. Okay. Okay. Then why question about office of CAG? So if you come to the explanation based, answer lies here. Okay. First, the mandate is, if you go through last 5 to 6 years of prelims question paper, there was no question about office of CAG. Okay, office of CAG. But it is a very important office. As Ambedkar said, it is one of the bulwark of Indian Constitution. He is a guardian of public works. He holds very important place. The office of CAG holds a very important place in the Indian parliamentary system, etc. These were given by our constitutional writers at that time. Okay, so it becomes very, and the office of CAG becomes very important. So it may be asked in the near future. And one more point is, former Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor GC Murmu was recently appointed as the Controller General of India. So it can be asked in the upcoming prelims examination. Okay, okay, it is very expected topic in the upcoming prelims examination. Okay. So again, next information. The Constitution of India provides for an independent office of Controller and Auditor General of India under Article 148 to 151. Okay. So Constitution directly establishes the office of CAG as an independent body. It is not mandated to subordinate to any officers. It is an independent constitutional body. Independent constitutional body means it does not need to accountable or does not need to be answer to anybody. Okay. And why this article has been mentioned here means, if you go through the last year question papers, there was a question is 2019. There was a question about Article 142. Okay, Article 142. It is about Supreme Court. Okay, Article 142. So you should be very clear about which are the articles he establishes and give the roles and functions of CAG. So Article 148 to 151. Okay. He is the head of the Indian Audit and Accounts Department. Very important, very crucial functionality of office of CAG. Okay, then his duty is to uphold the Constitution of India and the laws in the parliament in the field of financial administration. Political administration and other administrations are executed by our council of ministers. But in the field of financial administration, it is office of CAG. Okay. V. Narhari Rao was the first Indian to take the charge as the head of the government auditing body after India gained independence. Okay. So V. Narhari Rao is the first CAG of independent India, but the office of CAG was established in the year, if I'm not wrong, it was established in the year 1906 by British. For the first time in India, it was established in the year 1916. If I'm not wrong, if I am wrong, please correct me in the comment section. Okay, 1906. Sorry, not 1906, 1896, I think. So I'm not sure about that, but it is a British colonial era of office. Okay, so we inherited this office from the British colonial system. Okay, it becomes very important. Okay, so if there is any wrong about this year, please comment in the comment section. I will revert back to you. Okay. Then the accountability of the Council of Ministers to the Parliament in the sphere of financial administration is secured through CAG report. Yes, this is the very, very crucial, important constitutional function of CAG. He ensures the accountability of the executive. Council of Ministers means executive to the Parliament. Okay, in the sphere of financial administration. Actually, he issues 3 different reports. If you go through Lakshmikant book, there is a separate chapter under the topic of constitutional bodies. In that book, he has elaborately mentioned all these functions and report submitted by CAG. So go through the topic, it becomes very important. Okay. Okay. After going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. Okay. The office of CAG has been clearly mentioned in the Constitution itself. Yes, Article 148 to Article 151. Okay. And then CAG of India has wide discretionary powers in dealing with the public funds established in the Constitution. No, this statement is incorrect. Why? It means he has no any discretionary powers. Only president and governor has a discretionary power as given in the Constitution, but not the office of CAG. Okay, so statement 2 is which one? Incorrect. Okay. V. Narhari Rao was the first CAG of independent India. Okay, this statement is correct. Question is about correct statement. Okay, so you know that statement 2 is incorrect. If you remove statement 2 from options, you can conclude that option C is the correct answer. So, how you should solve this question means, after going through all this information, if you know only statement 2 is incorrect, you should not worry about whether statement 1 and 3 are correct. So, if you are sure about the statement 2, you can directly conclude that option C is the correct answer. So, you can save your time and you can use this time in solving other time consuming questions. Okay. Okay. After solving this question, we are going to question number 5. Question 5. Okay. Sorry. Question 5. Consider the following pairs. Question is correctly matched, right? So the question is based on the model of match the following. Question is about volcano. So there should be two things that should be clear. First one is why question about volcanoes. In geography, there are many important topics, but why this topic volcano has been picked up? That should be clear. And then why in this match the following manner. Okay, so to solve this question, we have to go through the 2019 prelims question. If you go through prelims 2019 question, there was a correctly match the following questions. Okay, there are three matches given: famous places and river. Okay, so you should find that which one is correctly matched. Why this particular question has been asked in 2019 means, at that time, there was a severe flood in the World Heritage Site of Hampi. So, by picking Hampi, they have picked up all these places and the rivers. They have formulated one question. In that manner, we have formulated this question. Okay, okay. Then why about volcanoes? Okay. If we go through our explanation based, we can conclude why volcano is have been asked in this discussion. Okay. Mount Sinabang has become active once again. Mount Sinabang, it is located in Sumatra, Indonesia, Western Sumatra. Sorry, in Northern Sumatra. Sorry, in Northern Sumatra, Indonesia. It became active in 2010 and again in 2020. Okay, okay. Before erupt in 2010, it was dormant for nearly 20. Sorry, now nearly 45 years. Sorry, 400, nearly 400 years. So it was initially dormant. It became active in 2010 and again became active in 2020. So it becomes very important. Why this eruption is important means, it created very devastating effect in the Indonesia and other environmental parallel. How means it created mini climate in throughout the Indonesia. It created mini climate, and then economic damage were very severe. That is why it becomes very important for your upcoming prelims and also for your mains in the disaster management or geographical questions. You should be very thorough about that. And then Manala is the biggest volcano on earth and one of the active volcanoes located in Hawaiian island. Then again, why Manala is placed in your question means, Hawaiian island was in current affairs news. Why? There was a news that the world's largest telescope is going to establish in the Hawaiian island, but it was opposed by the local tribes of Hawaiian. That's why it was in news. That is why we got picked up this volcano from the Hawaiian island. And then Galeras, a stratovolcano in the southwestern part of Colombia, is one of the South American countries' most active volcano. So, Colombia is in South America, most active volcano is Galeras. And then stratovolcano means it will be stratified. It erupts frequently and forms strato-like structures. Okay. And then volcanic eruptions happen when lava and gases are discharged from the volcanic vent. If you see this picture, this is volcanic vent. These are the gases erupts, and then these are the lavas coming out of earth crust. Okay, okay. If you go through fundamentals of physical geography, 11th standard NCRT, 11th standard NCRT, 11th standard NCRT, the basic terminologies and the basic concepts about volcanoes have been clearly discussed. So it is very important that you should be very best utilized of this fundamental of physical geography 11th standard book. Okay, so after going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. So Sinabang, it is in Indonesia. This is correctly matched. Monolo, it is in Hawaiian island. it is correctly matched, and Galeras, Colombia. This is also correctly matched. So question is about correctly matched pair. So the answer could be option D. Option D is the correct answer. Okay. So after finishing this question, we are moving to next question. Question number 6. Okay. Recently, scientists from India have found the first synthetic route for the flavonoid molecule related to the treatment of tuberculosis and chikungunya. What is flavonoid? Okay. So again, as we discussed, there should be two aspects which should be clear. First thing is why question about flavonoid, and then why in this fashion, in this manner, in this type, in a one-liner type. There are different type question: statement based, fact based, match of following, and one-liner. So why this question has been placed in the one-liner manner? So before solving this question, we have to go through this previous year question. If you go through prelims 2019 question paper, there was a question. What is Cas9 protein? That is often mentioned in news. So why this question has been asked at that time means in China there was a researcher who illegally used to children to test the gene editing technology. Okay, that's why it was in news. Okay, but previously UPSC asked you about what are its traits and functionalities about other things, applications, etc. But now UPSC has changed its demanding style. How it thinks that before knowing all this important information about Cas9 protein, you should know what is Cas9 protein. Without knowing what is Cas9 protein means, what you are going to do with other things and other informations. Okay, so in that fashion, we have formatted this question, flavonoid molecule. Then why question about flavonoid molecule? There are many science inventions and the science news in news magazines and newspapers. Then why flavonoid molecule have been brought here means if you go through the explanation page, sorry, if you go through the explanation page, recently scientists from Agarkar Research Institute, Pune have first time discovered the first synthetic route for producing flavonoid molecules. This first time synthetic route has been explored by our scientists from Agarkar Research Institute. Okay, it is for the first time that flavonoid molecules have been synthesized in lab. Okay, first synthetic route have been discovered. First time synthesis in lab. It becomes very important. So that is why this question have been placed in this discussion forum. And then flavonoids. What are flavonoids? Question is what is flavonoid, right? So you should be very clear about that. So flavonoids are a group of phytonutrients present in almost all vegetables and fruits. Okay. This is very important. They are a group of phytonutrients. Phytonutrients. Okay, very, very important. You should be very cautious. And then they along, if you see that all vegetables and fruits are in different colors. It has different colors. The factor behind this color, reason behind this color is carotenoids. So carotenoid is creating the different colors through pigments. And then flavonoids. The flavonoids along with carotenoid are responsible for the varied colors in the fruits and vegetables. That is why flavonoid becomes important. And then what are the properties or traits of flavonoids means it is a good antioxidant and then anti-inflammatory properties. It also offers benefits for immune system. So it has multiple purposes: antioxidant, anti-inflammatory property, and then benefit for immune system. A diet rich flavonoids can protect from diseases related to heart, liver, kidney, brain, and other infectious diseases. It becomes crucial. Why? In a developing country like India, most of the Asian countries were ravaged with the infectious diseases in the health sector. Okay, so to solve this menace, we can use flavonoid molecules, and why it can be also it can be synthesized in the lab. So it can be widely utilized. Okay, after going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. Okay. So from the question itself, you can infer that this is the first synthetic route. So flavonoid molecule can be synthesized in a lab, and flavonoid molecules are related to treatment of tuberculosis and chikungunya. Okay, this is also very important. You should be very thorough about that. Oh. Sometimes UPSC can ask questions like the flavonoid molecules are related to. they can write on a question mark, and then they can given that it is related to treatment of tuberculosis and chikungunya. It is related to treatment of cancer and liver diseases. Likewise, they can give. So you should be very thorough about it. It is related to treatment of tuberculosis and chikungunya. So after going through all this information, we can conclude that option A is the correct answer. It is a group of nutrition present in almost all vegetables and fruits. Okay. After completing this question, we are moving to next question. Question 7. Global Economic Prospects Report is released by. In the previous session also, I told that it is very handy for UPSC to pick questions from indexes and report and which are the organization publishes it. So what you should do means you should prepare a list of important world organizations like Bretton Woods institutions, United Nations organs, United Nations organs, and their which one specialized agencies and important world institutions like ADB, AIIB, OECD, and then different groupings like G20, G7, etc. Okay, you can prepare a list of these things, and you should prepare which are the report and indexes published by this organization, which are the member countries here. Okay, it becomes very important for the UPSC examinations. Why means if you go through previous year questions, every year minimum one question is asked from this topic. Okay. So why question about global economic prospects and why in this fashion? Okay, to solve this, we have to go through previous year question. Okay, in prelims in the year 2018, if you go through, there was a question that rule of law index is released by which of the following? Okay, rule of law index. There was four important organizations. You should find which organization releases rule of law index. Okay. After completing looking at this previous year question, we are going to look at why question about global economic prospect. So the year 2020, if you go through in the year 2020, it was ravaged by the global pandemic, COVID. Okay, so it created very important economic damages throughout the world. So there was a quote that world is again economic recession. Economic recession 2.0, like it was the year created great economic recession is 1920, Great Depression, like situation. Oh, it was very important. So it becomes very important for the upcoming prelims, which are the report released and other things done by world organizations. Okay. Reports published by World Bank, it becomes very important because World Bank releases multiple reports and indexes. So you should be very clear about all these things. Global economic prospects, ease of doing business report, world development report, and the global financial development report. All these reports are released by World Bank. So a single organization releases this much reports. You should be very clear about this. And then the one more important factor about World Bank is Human Capital Index 2020 report was recently released by World Bank. That is why the question should be about the human capital index. But why I placed global economic prospect means you should have holistic idea about these concepts. That is why I placed question about global economic prospects. What are the other reports released by World Bank? You should know all these things. Okay. Then the human capital index, it is a recently launched one. In which year? 2018, as part of human capital projects. Under World Bank, this project is established human capital projects. Human capital projects releases human capital index. So in the first time it was launched in 2018. The first human capital index released in 2020. Why human capital becomes important means it is a very important factor for economic growth and development. If you go through the factors of production, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. These are the four important factors of economic production. Okay, so human capital becomes very important for the economic growth and development. And then HCA measures the human capital that a child born today can expect to attain by her 18th birthday. So it covers the human capability of from 0 to 18 years. The age cap is 0 to 18 years. Okay. India has been ranked at the 116th position in the HCA 2020. However, India's score increased to 0.49 from 0.44 in 2018. So India slipped, got a rank of 116th position, but its score improved comparatively from 2018 to 2020. Okay. Why it becomes important for India means India is a top young population nation. Young population nation. So to reap the demographic dividend opportunity given by this population, we should be clear about this human capital development. That is why it becomes very crucial for the Indian economy development. Okay. So after going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. So after by the information available as from the explanation base, we can conclude that the correct answer could be option B. So the correct answer could be option B. International Monetary Fund, World Economic Forum, UNCTD. So you should be very clear about all these important organizations. Okay. Okay. After solving this question, we are moving to next question. Okay. Question 18. Question 8. With reference to Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, consider the following statement. Okay. Topic about Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Fund Development and Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. Okay. Then question is about incorrect statement. You should be very cautious about whether the question is about correct statement or incorrect statement. Okay. Okay. There should be two cases. First, why question about Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Fund and why in this manner? Whether it becomes important to keep an eye on this corpus of this each fund. Yes. How means if you go through the 2017 preliminary question paper, it is a recent, it is not an old one, right? 2018 17 is a recent one. With reference to National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, consider the following: which of the statement given above is are correct? Okay. It is an organ of Niti Aayog. It has a corpus of 4 lakh crore at present. Okay. Actually, what UPSC has played here is it has added only 1 0. Actually, the purpose of this fund was at that time was 40,000 crore, not 4 lakh crore. And then it is not an organ of Niti Aayog. Okay. So it has played very cleverly here. Following this model and following this fashion, we have formatted this question here. Okay. Okay. So then before solving this question, we have to go through this explanation page to extract more information about the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Fund. Okay, the size of the fund is 15,000 crore, not 1,50,000 crore. Okay, so corpus is 15,000 crore. So okay, this fund will incentivize infrastructure investment in dairy, meat processing, and animal feed plants. Okay, these are the important areas in the animal husbandry. This fund will incentivize this infrastructure investment in dairy and meat processing and animal feeding plants. Okay. Farmer producer organizations, MAS, Section 8 companies, private companies, and individual entrepreneurs with only 10% margin money contributing to them. Okay. See, in any investment, there should be 100% fund investment. So 90% here, if you see, the balance 90 would be given as loan coming by scheduled commercial bank. 90% will be given by given by scheduled commercial banks, 10% by this private individual. How means if I am going to invest 1,000 rupees means 1,000 rupees in the infrastructure investment in dairy means what I will do is I will invest 100 rupees. Remaining 900 rupees will be borne by these scheduled commercial banks as a loan component. Okay, so only 10% of the amount is borne by me as an investor here. Okay, government will provide 3% interest subvention to eligible beneficiaries. Okay, what is interest subvention? See, in the following same example, I was to invest 1,000 rupees. I invested only 900 from my side. Bank gave me loan 900 rupees. Okay. If this 900 is loan, right? So it's I have to pay interest. The interest rate could be 10% for example. Okay. So in that 10%, 3% will be borne by government. I have to pay only 7% of the interest for this 900 rupees. So this is called interest subvention. Okay. There will be 2 years moratorium period for repayment of loan. So if I am taking loan in 2021, I don't have to pay this repayment of loan till 2023. from 2024 only I have to repay this loan. So there will be 2 years moratorium period in the initial years of my investment. Okay. So after going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. So this the fund as a corpus of 1,50,000 crore. No, this is absolutely incorrect. Only 15,000 crore as we saw in the explanation page. Then the fund is managed by NABARD, which would provide credit guarantee to the projects which are covered under MSME defined limits. Yes, it is very, very important. MSME defined limits will be covered all these things, and it is managed by NABARD. Okay, statement 2 is correct. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is wrong. And farmer producer organization and MSMEs are the only eligible beneficiaries. No, this statement is incorrect because Section 8 companies, private individuals, like you saw in the explanation page, all were eligible under this scheme, under this fund. Okay, so question is about incorrect statement. So 1 and 3 are incorrect. So answer could be option C. 1 and 3 only are incorrect. Even though you don't know about the statement 1 and the statement 3, you are sure that statement 2 is correct means you can directly come to the option that you can remove statement 2. You can conclude that option C is the correct answer. Okay. Good. Then after finishing this question, we are moving to next question. Okay. Question 9. Question 9. Who among the following regulates the finance or enables the establishment of NGOs in India? Okay. Why question about NGOs? There are important other organizations in India. Then why about NGOs and why in this manner? This question picked from miscellaneous topics. Okay, but the important lies here is if you go through the news current affairs. Ministry of Home Affairs is regulating all the finances and freezing on finances of many of the important NGOs in India and other civil society organizations which derives significant funding from foreign sources. So it was much discussed topic in the news forums. So we have picked this question NGOs in that sense. Okay. So before solving this question, we will go through the explanation, but before going through the explanation, we should know why question about the NGO also means it was in the current affairs regularly, and also same type of question asked in the year 2000 prelims 19 question. Okay, independent regulators likewise question. So we picked up question in this fashion for the NGOs here. Okay, so we are going through now the explanation. Explanation. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. Okay. Foreign funding of voluntary organization, that means NGOs, other self-help groups, etc., is regulated under the FCR Act 2010 and is implemented by Ministry of Home Affairs. That is why, for example, Greenpeace, the funding of Greenpeace is freezed by Ministry of Home Affairs. So NGOs and other voluntary organizations are regulated under the FCRA and it is implemented by Ministry of Home Affairs. You should be very clear about this. And then the Act ensures that the recipients of foreign contributions adhere to the stated purpose for which such contributions have been obtained. It means if I am running an educational trust, I am receiving foreign funding. So if I am receiving significant funding from foreign sources, in this act regulates that whether I am spending all this funding from the foreign sources to the intended purpose. That means education development in India. So okay, that's what the meaning of this information. Under the act, organizations require to register themselves in every 5 years. Yes. So what Home Ministry do means it will go through the review of performances and the funding pattern of all the NGOs and other voluntary institutions every 5 years. That is why it is mandated that every voluntary organization should be registered every 5 years. Okay. And then Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA 1999. Okay. The Act aims to consolidate and amend the law relating to foreign exchanges with the objective of facilitating external trade and payments. Yes, there should not be any foreign funding in the name of education, trade and payments. There should be an orderly fashion and orderly regulated. So it is the mandate of Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. And then the Act also promotes the orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange market in India. Yes, there should not be any negative consequences in the financial security of India. That's what this act ensures. Okay. Then next, a transaction, yes, a transaction under FEMA is called a fee or salary. Okay. A transaction under the FEMA is called a fee or salary, while the same under FCRA is called as grant or contribution. You should be very clear about that. It is very, very, very important. You should be very clear about this distinction between the transaction under the FEMA and the transaction under FCRA. Okay. Constitutional provision for NGO. Constitutional provision which establishes or regulates the funding of NGOs are Article 19, right to freedom of associations. Okay, very, very important. And then Article 43, DPSP highlights states having an endeavor to promote cooperative in rural areas, Article 43 of DPSP, and then concurrent list of 7th schedule, entry 28, mentions about charities, charitable institutions, charitable and religious endowment and religious institutions. Concurrent list, both in the concurrent list, both state and union can make laws, but in case of any conflict between these two laws, the law of center will prevail over state laws. Okay, okay, okay. After going through all this information, we are coming back to solve this question. Okay. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, yes, correct, as we saw in the explanation page. FEMA Act 1919 also correct. Article 43 of Indian Constitution along with Article 19. Article 19 comes under Part 3 is for fundamental rights is right to freedom of association, and Article 43 is under PBSP. It places obligation on the state. Okay. And then concurrent list of some civil. Yes, entry 28. Okay. So all these statements are correct, and the answer could be and option D. All the statements are correct. Okay. After solving this question, we are going to solve next question. Question number 10. Which of the following countries are the founding members of Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence? Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. Okay. There are important information, important agreement and other things about GPA. Why question about founding members? It becomes very crucial. And then why question about GPA? There are very important agreements, international treaties, etc. Why question about GPA? These should be clear, right? Okay. Both should be clear. So why question about founding member means if you go through prelims in the year of 2020, there was a question about which one of the following groups are all the four countries members of NGOs. Okay. So the question is asking about members of G20. So it has given four nations. You should pick the correct option, whether A, B, C, or D. So in this fashion, in this manner, we have formulated the question. Then why question on global partnership on artificial intelligence means if you go through our explanation, we will come to know that this becomes very important. So recently, India has joined the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence (GPA) as a founding member to support the responsible and human-centric development and use of artificial intelligence. Yes. So it becomes crucial. India as a founding member. So it can be specifically asked in upcoming prelims about the founding members. Okay. Okay. Then one important information about this initiative is UNESCO is an observer. One additional information: UNESCO is an observer. You should be very clear about that. Why? Because UNESCO is a very important UN affiliated organization, right? Okay, UN organization. So you should be very thorough about that. And then GPA is what is GPA? Okay. It is an international and multi-stakeholder initiative. International multi-stakeholder initiative. Multi-stakeholder means it includes private sector, government, public-private partnership, government organization, other initiatives, etc., other such members, etc. Okay, so it includes all the stakeholders, even private, public, and other major players. Okay, to guide responsible development and use of AI based on human rights. Human rights, human rights become very important in today's technology development because the right to privacy is the biggest issue in the recent days. In a WhatsApp issue or privacy policy also, it became very important news discussion in all these forums. And then inclusive society, diversity, innovation, and economic growth. So it is an international multi-stakeholder initiative. Okay, founding members go through all these members as founding members go through all these things. So here Australia, Canada, European Union, France, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Mexico, New Zealand, Singapore, Slovenia, United Kingdom, and the United States. If you see, there is no founding mention of founding members China and Russia. They are very important players in today's global issues, but they are not present in the founding members. Okay, so before knowing who are the members, you should know who are not the members of Global Partnership on Agriculture, sorry, and Artificial Intelligence. Okay, okay. And the other information, important information is GPA will be supported by a secretary to be hosted by OECD. So OECD is also associated with GPA. UNESCO is also associated with GPAI. And then China and Russia is not a founding member of global partnership on artificial intelligence. Okay, okay. After going through this, we are coming back to solve this question. Okay. As we saw, India joined as a founding. India joined as a founding member. Italy, New Zealand, Mexico, but not Russia. So if you remove five, you are left with option A and option B. But one, two, three for all are correct, right? So here, sorry guys, here there is a mistake. 3, 4 should not come here. You should add 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The correct answer could be option A. All the statements are correct. Okay. So after going through all these questions, we are summarizing our discussion here. In the environment subject, we have picked up leatherback turtle. From modern Indian history, we have picked up Deccan Education Society. And then in heritage and cultural topic, we have picked up Nagara style. And then from polity and constitution, we have picked up CA office of CAG. From geography, Valcano. From economic flavonoids, right? So from science and technology, we have picked up flavonoids question from flavonoid, and then from international reports and indexes, global economic prospects from international reports and indexes. Admiral as per infrastructure fund development from economic subjects, NGOs from miscellaneous or other important public institutions, right issues. And then current events and international importance from that topic, they have picked up global partnership on artificial intelligence. So why I mention all these important subject here means we are going to diverse subjects. We are discussing diverse subjects, so we are not left with any of the subjects excluded. Okay, okay. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, comment in the comment section. We are very glad to solve all your doubts and clear your doubts. Okay. So raise questions. We are very proud that we are going to solve all your doubts and queries. Okay. Thank you.